No bark. Okay.
Hello.
Just wait a couple more minutes. Hi. Ah, just admitting some people right now. We're just gonna wait another minute and then we'll get going.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, nothing like trying to wake up your computer after the weekend.
Ah,
All right, let's start with our accountability check-in, and then I'm sure a couple more people will trickle in as well. Emily, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was all about my kids. I was down at our local fairgrounds, helping them show their sheep and goats. So it was a busy weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
4-H there.
Yes. But I did reached out to a couple realtors that I saw with signs out where I live. And one of them is a Portland based. And he said he was looking for someone out this direction for referral purposes. So I have now been kind of talking to him, which is great.
Great, very smart. Lane, how's everything going with you? You
Going
had a
good.
good shadow opportunity this weekend, right?
Yeah, I shadowed her on Saturday, and then I actually hosted hers for her on Sunday.
Awesome.
So
How'd that
it was a good
go?
weekend. It was pretty slow traffic, but still good experience and probably okay for a first one.
Yeah, totally. Not getting too overwhelmed. Lori, how's everything with you? Oh, sometimes you're on from work.
she's
Working.
at work.
Okay, yeah.
So she's
That makes sense.
multitasking right now.
Yes, she listens in. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn on the little ding dong sound in case we do get people that trickle in late. And I will send you guys the student manual so you have that in front of you as well. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Charity Crosby. She has been licensed in real estate since 1997. She started her own team in 2005, the Crosby and Frey team. And Charity's goal is for each client to have a real estate experience which surpasses their expectations. Charity is known for her outstanding service, devotion to real estate, and the care and concern she gives each and every client. She currently works with sellers and buyers in assisting them with all of their real estate goals. And I realize that makes it sound like you're still on the team. She's not on that team anymore. She is flying by her own pants. But she is a phenomenal person when it comes to database management and building those long-term relationships. So really excited to have you guys learn from her today.
Thank you.
Welcome. Happy to take it away.
All right, thank you so much. All right, you guys. So, first of all, I'm just curious how long each of you have been in the business. Emily?
I was licensed at the end of January, and so very, very new.
Perfect. Okay. Lane?
I was licensed 2 Thursdays ago.
Nice. Lori, maybe put yours in the chat when you get a second. Last
There you
June.
go.
All right, we're good. Okay. So, this is perfect. I have put in the chat, you guys, my email and my phone number so that if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me. I tend to talk, stop me. To me, this is a very interactive class. So please stop me if I'm just going too fast or you didn't catch something. I will mention some companies and then I'll provide how you can go to them if you choose to. So a little bit about me. I have been in the business 28 years. I started when I was in my 20s and I'm going to be 53 this year. So I've been doing it for a very, very long time. I started when there was no internet, there was no MLS. We had a book, and by the time it got delivered to us, all the houses were sold, and that's no lie. We had pagers, and you'd have to find a phone. Also, our contract was 1-page carbon copy, and you had to physically deliver it to the lender, to escrow. So we have really progressed over the last 28 years. So when I joined KW in 2010, so I had been in the real estate business for 13 years. I was on a team for my first 9 and worked solely as a buyer's agent. So I had 0 skills on the listing side. All my listings got referred over to the listing agent. Oops, we're admitting somebody here. And since 2010, actually, the team leader at the time, well, first I went to a class, and it's one of the reasons I came to KW. Hi, Melissa. Oh, and we got some more people. I'm sorry, everybody. Just let me admit some people here. Admit. So in 2010, I learned what I'm going to teach you today. And honestly, this is probably the number one thing that you should be doing in your real estate business. And I started this in 2015. I started in 2010. And in 2015, since 2015, all of my business has been referral, solely by just marketing and contacting my database. And we're going to talk about what a database is, how we're going to build it, etc. So in the last session, you learned about lead generation. All the leads and prospects that you gather must be stored and organized somewhere. And that somewhere is your database. And you guys, if you're using Excel, Excel is not a database. Okay? I'm going to be very clear. Excel is not a database. At Keller Williams, we have a free website. We have a free database. So you might as well start using it. Okay, and there's so many things that Command does. We're not going to go into the ins and outs of Command today. I'll let you know if you have questions about things. Obviously, our staff is amazing. If you're a techie person or you like to go online, you can go to answers.kw.com for info, you can go to KW Connect. And there are tons of Command Tech classes, lots of them. Basically, just kind of YouTube what you want to know and you're going to find it. So then you can leverage this database, you guys, to grow relationships and generate new leads, repeat and referral business. So you're going to get the KW version. I go through the stuff that KW has, and then I'm also going to tell you how I might do it a little bit differently and why. You guys, there are a million ways to do real estate, and I've tried them all. I mean, I've done billboards, I've paid for Zillow leads, I have done it all. It has all been like a waste of my money over the years. And marketing to my database, I know exactly what I spend, I know my rate of return, I know everything because I track it in my database. So here's the thing, just don't reinvent the wheel. Take how somebody else is doing real estate and copy it. I've gone to many seminars over, around the country. I've taught at them, and frankly, I just pick up bits and pieces, and I'm like, oh, I like this. Maybe I'll incorporate that into my business. So now, do you guys all have the workbook that Mara mentioned? You don't have it?
She emails what we need on a daily basis.
She emailed it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get started, is there any questions or something that you want me to cover in databases that you think, I don't know, might not be covered? We're going to cover a lot of stuff. So what's a database? Or some people call it a data bank, right? Because frankly, that's exactly what your database is. It's a data bank. On page 6.2 of your manual, there's a quote from Gary Keller, and this has stuck with me since 2010. Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. And you guys, this could go with anyone. I have a 22-year-old nephew. He decided like a month ago he wanted to be a car salesman. He's loving it. But he's like, Charity, how do I gain more business? So actually, I'm going to teach him how to build a database tomorrow. So this could work for anybody. This is how simple this truly is. So your database is the container that's going to hold all of your contact information for all your leads and contacts. Remember, without a database, you do not have a business. It's really as simple as that. We distinguish people differently based on the permission that we have to connect with them. So let's talk about leads and contacts. The difference is leads are people who have expressed an interest in a service or maybe an offering that you did on social media, your website, like you directed them to your website, other marketing platforms like that. I used to, my first 9 years, I moved here and I knew nobody. I knew absolutely nobody. And my very first sale, was a coworker of my husband at the time. That was my very first sale. And I also did a lot of internet leads. So an internet lead would be a lead because I have not basically been given permission per se to contact them. But a lead is, you haven't really established the relationship yet, but you still have the right to respond to them and begin to build a relationship because they reached out to you in some way, right? Internet lead, realtor.com, however they did it. Contacts are people that you have a relationship with. They know you. Sorry, I gotta let somebody else in here. This is what we call our sphere of influence or METs. So you're gonna hear me go back and forth, but it's the same thing, sphere of influence or METs. The people who make up your sphere of influence are considered your contacts, okay? You know them. They know who you are. If somebody said, hey, Charity Crosby, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know her. And you guys, these people are golden. Many top agents around the country have extremely successful real estate businesses working solely with their sphere of influence or their METs. I am one of those people. I'm not, one of the reasons I teach this class, or I like to teach this class, is because I practice this every single day, and I have since 2010, and I am a firm believer in it. And so if you go to page 6.3 in your manual, if you have the manual, using the model on that page, can someone tell me where your database is represented? It's either in lead generation, relationship management, or client referral loop. Who thinks where their database is? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's in the relationship management. It's all in the relationship management. These relationships that you build and develop will grow your business with new business, repeat business, and referral business. So before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's talk again about what does your database do for you? It keeps you organized so you can run your business effectively and efficiently. You guys, this is your business. You determine how big it's going to be and how successful it's going to be, not anyone else except for you. It keeps a record of your communication and relations with each person. Now, I wish I would have started this in 1997, but I started my database in 2010. Now, even 15 years, I can't remember everything I talk about, right? Or who did what, who bought what and where. I mean, every time I talk to somebody, it goes in the database. I over communicate, okay? Because I want to remember things. And so it really keeps a good communication of that. It helps you automate tasks, and we're going to talk more about that, especially when we get into the 36 touch. If you've heard of the 36 touch, please raise your hand. Okay. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Emily said you got the big one, didn't you? The 50-some pages. That's mine, but I condense it into my own version. And a well-maintained database holds value and can be sold when you retire and close your business. So you guys, I plan on selling my database. I have built a business over 28 years, and I'm not walking away from it. It's going to continue to make me money during my retirement. Okay. All right. So now the best part is you have a database already. You have Command. If you have not, can raise your hand if you've entered anybody into Command yet. All right, Mitch. Okay, Melissa, there we go. All right. So there are 4 laws to a database, a good database. 1, build it. Number 2, feed it every single day. Number 3, communicate with it in a systematic way. We're going to talk about how to do that. And then you service all the leads that come your way. So I guess you don't have the same manual, huh? Okay, well, I guess I can't refer to pages. So let's talk about this. The first names to put in your database is your sphere of influence. That is everyone you know. I'm going to tell you a story and how this really came about for me. I took this class on 33 touch and building your database with KW. I would consider myself not a salesy person, right? My daughter did club soccer and she was in middle school or grade school at the time. Or all through grade school, all through middle school, all through high school. She did all these club teams. She was on the school teams, basketball, soccer, blah, blah, blah. And you get all these rosters, right? From parents or the names of parents a lot of the times, or you just, meeting people at games. So one of the things that I didn't do because I didn't want to seem pushy is I didn't put any of those people in my database, any of the parents my daughter went to school with. So in 2010, I was told, put everybody you know. And I did. And I sent out a postcard. And basically it was, oh, guess what? I'm still in real estate, but frankly, I wasn't marketing to a database, so nobody really probably knew. And I got a call 2 days after mailing out that postcard. And it was a parent that I had known. Our kids had gone to school, like, I mean, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, I mean, 7, however many years they go to school. And she called me and she said, you know, oh my gosh, Charity, I just got this postcard. I had no idea you were in real estate because I never talked about it. Nobody knew that they could come to me. Since then, by the way, in 2015, I have done 3 generations in their family. And we counted the other day, and we're up to 8 transactions between family members in 3 different generations. And it continues. And this person had a friend who has an agent, and they had a question from a different area, and he had them call me. You know, be the person that people want to call. So what are you going to put in the database? Name, mailing address, email address, and phone number. Now, we do not all have those things, but for me, I'm going to explain how I do my Mets database versus my not Mets or haven't Mets. Haven't Mets for me would be email leads. You know, I got a realtor.com lead, maybe a Zillow lead, something like that. My Mets are obviously people that know me. In my database that I mail to, now I have an internet database of leads of people that I don't know. There's like 3,000 in there, right? Just random people. All of my Mets are in there too. But my database, my contact database with my contacts, I only spend money on people that I know or who know me. Okay. So I'm not going to go spend however much to mail to all these people in a leads database that don't know me. So for this purpose today, we're going to talk about contact database and our contacts and how you can separate the two. So those main things. What else could you put in your database for a contact besides those basic things? Anyone?
Birthdays, anniversaries.
Absolutely. Do they? And when I say contact, so I'm always making notes. Every time I learn something new about one of my contacts or my Mets, I'm putting it in the database so I don't forget about it. Do they own or rent a home? Maybe you know some things about, you know, the Ford questions about them. Other family members and pets. You know, when somebody mentions, oh, my grandson Jake, I put in there, oh, she has a 2-year-old grandson named Jake, and she just loves the heck out of that kid, right? So it's helping me to build stronger relationships. Purchase anniversary. One of the things I do, and you'll see this is part of my 36 touch, is I've put an anniversary plan in my database. And so every year, the month that somebody closes, I'm notified. And so I send out a handwritten card that says, you know, Steve, happy anniversary. You've been in your home for 22 years now. I hope the year goes well for you. I stick in either a $10 Starbucks or a $10 Amazon card and a $1 scratch it. Now, I'll tell you, every month I end up getting photos, or people will tag me on social media with a photo of the card. And, you know, me seeing, look, I mean, how can they remember that it's been 22 years since I purchased my house? Because this is all automated. You set it up one time, you guys, and you can do this in command. You're setting up these touches, my anniversary plan once a year for all my buyers. And it's just at the 30th of every month, I know to go look, and there it is. Basically, I put anything I want to remember. When a buyer closes, or even on my listing, sometimes appraisers will call you. You will also they'll call you and say, now, do you remember who my lender was? Or, how do I contact my lender? How do I get this? So when I close on a transaction listing or buyer, I always put in specific things. I put in who the title company was in case I need to look them up fast. I want to know the loan type and terms. Were there any concessions? And I put down who the lender was. Okay, because I want to remember these items. I only started doing this 5 years ago, and man, it's a lifesaver because last thing I want to do is pull a file, right, from 6 years ago. So this helps with that. I put in who redeems my mailers each month, and we'll go over that with a 36 touch. You guys, it used to be a 33 touch, and they changed it. So if I slip and say 33, just know it's 36. Any conversation I put in there, I put who sent what referral to me, and past record of business. I mean, some of these people have done, an investor might do 6, 7, 8 transactions. I want the addresses of every single one, and I want the terms and all that kind of stuff. So your database is just a fabulous place to put all this. Now let's talk about how you get mailing addresses. There are many ways. You guys know how to look up the tax records in MLS? Okay. I know this by heart. On the main, when you're in MLS on the main page, you're going to go to search, then tax, and then tax main. You're going to put in somebody's name. Make sure it's Lane County or whatever county. There's a bunch of counties. You don't want 500 people. And basically, I would say 70% of the time, if they own a house, I can find it through there. If they're renting, obviously, they're not going to be there. Now, you can also reverse this. If you're trying to find the owner of a place, if you're like, oh, wait, I know so-and-so lives here, they know me, but I can't remember their last name. You can go on the main page, search, tax, and then tax address. And you'll be able to punch in the address and find out who the owner is. And sometimes the owner does not live at the property, right? Sometimes it's an investment property. So it's going to give you their actual mailing address. That to me is the easiest way. Or, let me just see if I can find it. There's a company called, it's forewarn.com, I believe. It's $120 a year. I haven't used that, but I know a lot of people do. There's whitepages.com. You can pay $10 a month. And then lastly, just ask. Hey, you know what? So for me, based on what I send out in my 36 touch, I'll find them on Facebook and send them a little message, or if I have their phone number, hey, I send out a goodie each month and I wanted to include you. What's a good mailing address for you? Okay. If I'm trying to find somebody's email address, many, many ways to get somebody's email address, you guys, just by asking. Hey, I send out a quarterly newsletter on how the market's doing, and an email newsletter on how the market's doing and different things to spruce up your home. I'd love to include you. What's your email address? Okay. If they say no, then they're not somebody you're going to want in your database. Simple as that. Okay. Because they're not really a good contact, right? Let's talk about who we're going to add. This is the fun part, you guys. And I've got story after story. You're going to add every single family member. Okay. I have my 22-year-old nephew in my database. You never know who he's going to come across and be like, oh, wait, my Aunt Charity sells houses, right? Okay, your family, all of your friends. So my mom has never purchased, nor will she ever purchase a home. Yet she is one of my biggest referral sources, you guys. I mean, she knows lots of people, and she thinks nothing of being at Fred Meyer and handing out my card. Put those contacts in your database. Those are the people you want. My sister-in-law, she has sent me, I've had 5 transactions in the last 3 years from her, and one of them was a $1.2 million sale. And it's from my sister-in-law. You would think that, yes, everybody's going to refer to you because they know you. They forget. Remember this. Someone will forget you in 2 weeks. Okay, you're out of their mind after 2 weeks. So you need to stay at top of mind at least every 2 weeks. People at church, all my neighbors. I bought a new house 4 years ago. All my neighbors, I start, anyone I meet, I'm like, oh, that's the address. Let me go look up their name in county records, in MLS. I mean, so I added like 4 years ago, just 10 people in 1 month because I met the neighbors. Volunteer groups. I used to be a CASA. Anybody I came into contact with, other attorneys, social workers. If I knew them and we had conversation, they're going in my database. Everyone goes in your database. Do you have a hobby group? I have a friend, she does quilting. And so she's got this big group. They meet once a month for quilting. Maybe you have a book club. In 2010, I put my daughter's grade school principal in there thinking, oh yeah, he's never gonna, remember me. Although I did leave my kid at school twice in first grade. So, I think he kind of remembers me, but he used me, right? And he's referred business to me over the years. My divorce attorney, you guys, I got divorced in 2010. About 3 times a year, I get a phone call from his office saying, Charity, we need a CMA done for a divorce situation. And here's what happens. Husband and wife aren't getting along. Each goes and gets their own realtor, blah, blah, blah. And then, you just go out there. And basically, you do a CMA for free, which is fine. And I'll say 1 out of the 3 each year I end up listing. The other 2, they came to an agreement. This year it was 1 and I got a referral because the courts decided that the husband and wife's realtors had to come together and choose another realtor to list it. So, people come to you for things other than just buying and selling, just so you know, be helpful, be that person, be the person that they want to come to because they know you're never going to say no and you are going to help them the best way you can. Or at least put them in a different, find somebody who can. My hairdresser, you guys, your nail techs, your eyelash person, not for everybody. My vet, you guys, I just sold her a $700,000 house, kitty corner to me. And she's been my vet since 2017. I put her in my database, just started mailing to her, and she needed to buy a new home. And she called me. She has 2 others we're going to list within the year. Now, had I not put her in my database or any of these people, had I not put them in my database, I would not have gotten this business. This is why it's so important. And here's the thing, you put people in your database, you don't care if they're going to use you or not. That was kind of my mindset in my first 13 years. Well, their bestie does real estate, so I don't think they'd use me, so I'm not going to put them in there. You guys put everyone in there. I've had people contact me whose bestie is in the real estate business, and they have chosen not to work together because they did not want to ruin a friendship. You guys, business comes from all over the place. You're limiting where your business comes from by not adding everybody into your database. Question. So Emily has a question. Just to me, but this is a great one. Have you ever had a friend or family that you've reached out through the database that's been upset about it? No. But let's remember what I'm sending them, I don't feel is spam. And so I'm going to go over that. If I was getting spam from a family member, I'd be pissed too. Mad. So, be very careful about what you're sending out. We will talk about that. I just had one of my mom's friends. She sent me a text and said, hey, you don't need to mail me your stuff anymore. She doesn't like getting mail or emails, by the way. She's whatever, Tech Challenge. She's like, just know I will always use you. So she's in my database without an address. Her address is in the comment section. And then I put in there, she just doesn't, she's never going to use my mailers. Right. And so she's like, don't waste your money. So I respect that. Let's see here. Your vet, your CPA, done business with CPA, your gardener, anyone that you give money to, who knows you, anyone. I went through cancer. I have an oncologist, I have a radiologist, and I have a surgeon. All three are in my database. Do I know if they're ever going to use me? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. It's part of the game on this, you guys. I make this into a game. Put as many people in your database that know you and you know them. So let's talk about, you put your inspectors in there. Who do you know, who's your plumber? Who's your lender? When I go to a social event, if I'm talking to somebody new, I know their name, I'm going to look them up in the tax records, or I'm going to reach out to them, afterwards on social media and say, hey, I really enjoyed talking with you. I send out a goodie each month and would love to include you. Nobody has ever told me no. Who doesn't want a goodie, right? Who doesn't want one? Cancer group.
So do you actually send the goodies every month?
What was that?
Do you actually send the goodies every month?
I absolutely do. And I'm going to show you exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Okay. I had cancer in 2018. I became a member of Oregon Cancer Foundation. I was their spokesperson in 2018. And so every woman that I met with cancer went into my database. I am actually having dinner tonight with one of those women. She's retired, but she's thinking about, wow, her house might be too big. Should she downsize? So we're just going to go to dinner. We're going to talk about it. Chamber of net, go to the chamber. Everybody's handing out cards left and right? You have a business card, you have their address. Out of area agents. There are some agents that refer to me all the time when they have Eugene buyers. So they are in my database. They're under a specific category. Join Facebook groups, you guys. Get on social media. Here's the thing. I have less than 500 people in my database, yet I have over 6,100 followers on Facebook. So my goal for the next 6 months is to go through all those people on social media and be like, do I really know them? Some people just follow you, but do I know them? Because I know I have forgotten someone. I had a listing, last year, somebody I totally forgot about. I met like in 2012, forgot to put her in my database, but she follows me on Facebook, and frankly, she called me up because she loves what I post about my dogs. I mean, crazy, right? But that was the connection that we had, was dogs. And so that's the whole purpose of this, is connecting to these contacts in some way. I've been reached out. Trying to think here. Well, we're going to kind of, I'm jumping the gun. You'll see that I go back and forth because I'll get on a trail of something. Social media has become the new thing. Before 2018, I could have cared less. I didn't hardly post anything. In 2018, in January, I shared my cancer journey for the year. My following went from 3,000 to well over 5,000, almost 6,000 in a year. Last year, I had somebody reach out to me, Facebook messaged me and said, hey, I'm not a stalker. I'm an attorney here in Eugene. He said, I started following you in 2018 because I was going through something, not even cancer. And a friend said, oh, you should follow this lady. Watch her cancer journey. You guys, I put it all out there. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. There are 2 things I don't put on social media. And this is just me. I never put anything about politics. And I never put anything about religion. Okay. That's the quickest way to alienate some people. I mean, like there are family members I don't even want to talk to based on politics, right? But we do. So you're going to work with a lot of people, with different beliefs than you have, and that's completely okay. And so the other thing is I don't post anything on social media that I wouldn't want my daughter or my grandma to see, right? So my social media is completely open because I get a lot of, I would say, leads, people messaging me about things, or, hey, I have a question, so-and-so told me to call you. They then become contacts, okay? So these leads, it's just kind of like a game. Let's talk about, so now you have a good list of who you're going to start putting in your database, right? We do know that. Okay. So the way you'd communicate with your database is going to depend on whether it's a lead or a contact. Like I mentioned before, my leads, they're going to get my internet stuff on my 36 touch. Okay, but I'm not going to spend my money mailing to them. I've never met them face to face, and they don't know me. I don't know them. But so my email database is solely for leads. I kind of have two. One's an email one, and then one's a contact one. But they're not going to start my 33 touch unless they become a contact. There is a big difference. I know a lot of people who spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars mailing to leads that don't even know them. Mail to people that know you, who will remember you. Let's talk about categories. KW might call them segments in your book. But when we enter in a contact, we need to remember something about them. How are we going to look them up? How are we going to search for them? In the beginning, I had lots of contacts, you guys. They were on it's a buyer lead, or it's a seller lead, or it's a referral. I mean, it got to the point over several years where people had so many contacts, I just couldn't figure it out, right? It was just overwhelming. So this is how I categorize my database. I've made it super simple. It has been this way since, I don't know, 10 years. It's the easiest way I have been able to figure this out and to keep track. So, and by the way, some categories you might have: buyer, seller, sphere of influence, METs. Your haven't met should not be in your mailing database. Past client, maybe a VIP, referral client. This isn't set in stone, you guys. When you put a category, you might start and be like, oh yeah, I want like all these categories. You can change that 10 years later. That's the wonderful thing about owning your own business. Try things out. See what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, change it. Make it easier. So, because I had way too many categories and they were changing all the time. A buyer then became a seller, and then it's just all over the place. I came up, actually, no, I think I stole this from somebody, part of it from somebody. Who knows? But it works for me. Every person in my database has one of two what are we calling it? Segment categories. Mine is either past client or sphere. Past client is pretty self-explanatory. They have done business with you, buyer or seller. Sphere is everyone else. My mom, my friends, my lender, anybody that hasn't purchased a home with me. So there's one main category. Then I have a subcategory. And I call it prospect because, let's be real, for me, when I'm working my database, I am prospecting. It just doesn't seem like it. But I have A prospect, B prospect, and C prospect. And here's how I determine these. A prospects are like my VIPs, my referral sources. They are anyone that has done business with me more than once or has referred a piece of business to me. Okay? So a past client we'll go back to that. B prospects, anybody that I think would use me, I'm sure they would, right? Maybe. Who knows? So, the rest of my past clients, my family, my friends who may not have done business with me or referred to me, well, actually, they would have done business to me, or I think they do business with me again, go on B. A is the coveted spot, you guys. A means multiple transactions or a referral. To me, a referral is just as good as a sale from someone. Absolutely. Because if they're going to refer me out and I do a good job, they're going to continue to do that. And then they're also going to use me when they want to buy or sell. C. Everybody else, I don't know. Also people out of the area. So I'm not going to mail to certain people my goodies every month to people that don't live in the area. I have very few. But these are people that maybe I met at a chamber event. We met face to face, right? I met them, but I don't know if they'd use me, right? Maybe I went to a party. It really depends on who I want to mail to and how many people I want to mail to. But C's are just the kind of, I want them in my database, but I don't really know if they would use me because I don't know if they have family members or whatever. Now I have one other category that gets added on, and I'm going to tell you this now. It kind of goes into feeding your database, but since we're here, I have a category called Adopt a Buyer. Every time one of my listings sells, I put the buyer into my database because look, I have their address. It's the address of my listing. So I put them in my database. For me, it goes on, my sphere, and it goes on B or C, just kind of depending. Typically it's B. And then here's the thing about this. No KW agents. Okay, and I think it's even in our policy and guideline. Don't do this if the buyer's agent is a KW agent. You never want to do it to somebody that's in your own company, okay? But I put them in my database. I put them on that anniversary plan, you guys. So guess what? They're getting an anniversary card from me. Now they're going to be on my 36 touch. I cannot tell you. I have a listing right now. Actually, we just went pending. She bought the house in I don't know, like 4 years ago. She called me up and said, "You sold me the house." I said, "Well, technically, I didn't sell you the house." I said, "I listed the house and somebody else sold it to you." She goes, "Well, I can't remember who that was, but you've been mailing me this whole time. So can you come list my house?" Sure, why not? You guys, I'm good for 2 to 3 listings a year from this. Okay. And all I'm doing is taking a minute to add them into my database and putting them on a 36 touch. So, also, I mean, it's really funny. I'll start getting Christmas cards. I get Christmas cards from these buyers that weren't even mine, but I'm mailing them, and now I'm getting photo Christmas cards from them because nobody else, their own agent didn't stay in contact with them. Remember, a lead not followed up with or communicated with on a regular basis is somebody else's business. Mine. Okay. Sometimes people just didn't like their agent, right? And they're like, "Yeah, I wouldn't use them again." But I guarantee you I'm going to be the first person they call because they get monthly mailings from me and they get info from me. So any questions about the database itself, what you're putting in there? Do we all get that? What we're putting in there? All of our stuff. Okay. Okay, so what I want you to do right now, we're going to take a few minutes. I want you to write down 5 people you can add into Command tonight and what categories you're going to put them on. By the way, this isn't set in stone. You can change this, not the adding of the 5 people, but you can change the categories. I just want to know, and then I'm going to ask one from each of you. Who's the person And what are the categories you're going to put them on? Okay, Emily, we're going to start with you. Who's someone that's not in your database right now that you're going to put in there? And what category?
I am adding in my insurance agent. And not only, but I had planned on adding him, but someone pointed out this weekend, who's knowing that I'm doing this now, that if I could I don't know how to say it. If I knew of a property that I could potentially sell, what the insurance availability was like, because we live in a very, very rural area and fires are a big issue. And so the suggestion was, hey, maybe you get in touch with the insurance agent that you could already work with, so that if you were listing a house, you could say, oh, and I've already kind of reached out and there's potential for insurance or whatever. So
absolutely. And you can give that insurance agent to your buyer as well. Reciprocation. Yep. We're going to talk about this, referrals back and forth. So what categories are you going to put on your insurance agent?
He is actually, I would probably put him as probably a B. I've known him a long time under your prospects subcategory, just because we go way back. So he's more than just barely someone I know, but he's not quite in the A category yet.
Okay. And I will, if you don't have any other categories, I really would have a past client and a sphere one. Okay. Because there might be a time where you just want your list of past client, right? Maybe you're doing a past client party, although you're going to find that I do things a little bit differently. It just became, as my database grew bigger and bigger, it just became more easy to just do it one way, right? Like, I'm not sending all the buyers something this month and then all the sellers something and then my VAP something different, right? I mean, it's just, everybody's the same. If you're in my database, but I do want to know, you know, as a category, who's done business with me before. So I do think, you know, categorize them either past client or sphere. And right now, all your people are going to be sphere, right?
Right.
They're all going to be sphere, but these sphere are going to be moving into past clients. And so you kind of want to keep track of that. You know, you really want to keep track. So,
and not having actually put a category into Command, that's what you're saying. You can kind of sort in Command by your categories. Gotcha.
Yes,
okay.
You should be able to add different categories and change them. I'm going to be honest, you guys, I don't use Command because I'm old school and I've used the same database for, you know, well before I joined KW. And so I'm not tech savvy, you guys. So I mean, so I'm doing it the easy way that I can. But yes, you should be able to change categories, put them everything else that you want. Okay. Lane.
Yeah, I'm gonna add my fiance's coworker friends, Mike and Sam, into my database. They're looking to buy a house here soon, so hopefully they can be a future prospect and then a past client.
Okay, so what categories are you going to put on them? You don't have to use mine. I just told you the way I'm doing it. You gotta
Sure.
pick your own, or use mine. I don't care.
I mean, I probably just at the moment use yours. They'll be the first persons in my database, so they'll be my examples, I guess, of what I want to put them into. I'll have to figure that out.
Okay. You know, make it easy on yourself and also think 10 years down the road. That's one thing I didn't think about when I started this, is the 10 years down the road. And then I had to go through hundreds and hundreds of people and change things. But it's doable. You can do it.
Sure.
Find an easy way. Don't overcomplicate anything. Melissa. Oh, you don't have any audio? I don't think our audio works. Um, so if you get your audio, Melissa, let me know. Lori's working. So, oh, Melissa's at work. Okay, I didn't realize. The background, though, the background looks awesome. So somebody asked, what do I use? Because I don't use Command. If I was a new agent and started over, I would use Command because it's ever evolving and there's so many different things you can do with it. I use Top Producer. It's $85 a month. Actually, it went up. I mean, back in the day it was 35. Now it's up to 85. But yeah, I don't like to learn new things. So since it was already set up, it's just what it is. And the sad thing is, though, I spend $85 a month to use 1/10 of what that program is, whereas KW I probably would have used, or Command I probably would have used it all. So, and Lori's at work. Okay, you guys, great. We're gonna go on to step 2, which is grow your database. So number 2, 1, build a database. 2, feed it every day. We're gonna grow our database. So we do this in 2 different ways, by prospecting and marketing. Prospecting is actively seeking for leads and building relationships with your conversation. So, social media, maybe, you're going to networking events, you're being very proactive, right? Here are some of the things that I used to do. Internet leads. I'll tell you, I've done everything, you guys. Shopping carts, golf course, benches. I mean, you guys have tried it all. It's such a waste of money. I'm telling you this right now. Even right now, if I was a millionaire and still doing real estate, I would not pay for that stuff. I would not. I mean, I get more bang for my buck spending less doing this. And it's more fun. I mean, the last thing I want to do is, call people I don't know. That's no fun. The other way is marketing, and that's kind of a passive. That's where in my first years I was very prospecting based, and now I'm a bit more passive in a marketing way. So that's you're putting information out in print or social media, and you're waiting for leads to seek you out. Okay, marketing is more passive. Now your database grows in many different ways. With new business, when someone from your sphere of influence is ready to buy or sell, or they refer somebody to you. And repeat business, you guys, I have repeat business. I have, just so you know, I have not advertised since 2015. I have not spent money on anything other than this. No more billboards, no more internet leads, no more Zillow leads. Worst leads in the world, Zillow. And it was like every few years, let me try Zillow again. Maybe it's different. I promise you, it is not. It is not different. You guys, this is a numbers game. So I want you to think of it this way, and this is how you're this is a gauge of how much business you're going to have. So I think they changed it from a 12-2 ratio to a 10-1 ratio, meaning if you are doing your 36 touch properly, and by the way, this has been tested out. I have personally tested this out, just so you know. I spent a year testing this out. For every 10 people in your database, you should be getting 1 piece of business a year. This is how I want you to gauge how well you're doing with your database. If you are not getting 1 piece of business, now this could mean a listing, a buyer, sale, or a referral. Okay, we have 3 different, to me, it's 3 different types of business. Now, let me give you the ratio for farming. Done that too, guys. Done that too. After a year, for every 50 people that you mail to, you should be getting 1 piece of business. That's a big difference, 50 to 1 versus 10 to 1, right? Don't spend your money on farming, spend your money on your database, your sphere of influence. Less money, less headaches, and I promise you a lot more fun. If you have money to spend, and I'm not gonna say don't ever do these items. You guys, like I said, I have done every type of marketing, every type of prospecting for sell by owners, expireds. You guys, I've done it all. I've done it all. The only thing I have not done is I've never door knocked, but I'm scared, so I wouldn't door knock anyway. But everything else I've done. You can ask, I've done it all. So the great thing about, your sphere of influence, your database, you never know who they're going to refer to you. They could refer anybody to you. It's crazy to me. I'm always, you think after 28 years, I wouldn't get surprised about who is in, who's going to refer to me. I mean, I'm just amazed, you guys. Again, this is a numbers game. The more people you have in your database, right, the more sales you're going to have if you communicate with it in a systematic way, which is number 3. But we're still on number 2. So how do we get people to refer to us or do business to us or give referrals to us? 1, just ask. Explain how to give you one. Oh gosh, here's my phone number. I mean, if somebody gave me their card and said, here, hand out my card, I can barely find my own business cards, you guys. I'm not going to hand out anybody else's, but I am more than happy to text a contact. So I've got contacts all over in my phone that I can text to somebody, a handyman, who, different random people. Sharing how important it is, thanking them with a gift. This is very, very important, I feel. When somebody refers someone to you, I know a lot of agents wait until the sale is done. And then they send out a thank you gift. You guys, I reward the name. Even if that person never calls me, I reward the name. So they get a handwritten note that says, you know what, thank you so much for referring, Jack Black to me. Referrals, are the, I can't remember, the referrals are what make my business, so successful. I greatly appreciate you. And I put a $10 Starbucks card or a $10 Amazon card and a $1 scratch it. You guys, you don't have to do these elaborate things. And do you notice that I keep it the same? I'm not doing something different because this person referred or this person. What I do is if I have somebody that tends to refer to me a lot, once a year I might send them like $100 Visa card. If they referred 3 people to me that year, I mean, heck yeah, that's worth it to me, right? I want them to keep referring. So we want to reward the name, not the sale. So very important there. And it really is very important I feel, to write a handwritten note. This isn't an email. This isn't a Facebook, DM. This is a handwritten note. So I'm gonna tell you my passive way I do it now. One, you guys, don't be a silent agent when you're going places. I mean, start talking about it. Well, I'm getting off track, so I'm going to show you the referral postcard first, and then I'm going to, well, I lost my train of thought, but we'll come back to it. Okay. You guys, everybody in my database gets this referral postcard. Okay. I'm just going to tell you. You see, thank you for your referrals. They may not have given me a referral, but I'm thanking them anyway, and it might make them think, oh, wait, I haven't given Charity a referral in a while, or, oh, wait, Charity wants referrals. So, and it says, looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I have my phone number. I have my email address. Now, on the back, I have your home is our business. It's kind of my slogan. It's been that way. And then it says, want to know your home's approximate current market value, go to, and then my website, you guys. Simple as that. This goes out to A, B, and C prospects. This can go out to even the agents that are out of the area. And you guys, what this is doing, and you can see it's big. It's 6x9. It's big. I'm not doing the little one for this because I feel this is very important. And it's on a nice cardstock. There are many places to get that I do this from. I believe Command probably has a source. You can design something like this in Canva. I think they already have designs that maybe you can change around in Command. I print these. I used to do it from, I have found the cheapest way is Bear printing. And so I'll print these. And then because I send out so many, you guys aren't going to have to worry about this now, but for later, find somebody that can send it to you, that can send stuff in bulk. Because I mail over to 200 people, as long as it's the same item, I can get a bulk rate by mailing through someone, and I'll tell you who that is later. You guys, this is going from the mailbox straight to the recycle bin. It does not get changed. It's been this way for this version has been this way for probably 5 years. Okay. It is repetition. If I'm changing it all the time, then maybe they think it's someone else. I want them to know it's me. I want it to be big. Thank you for your referrals. This goes out once a month to my A, B, and C prospects. Okay, just checking to see if there was any more question or in the chat group. Here's another way you can add to your database. Start a preferred provider list. Well, let me back up. If I was new, I would start calling all the divorce attorneys in Lane County. First, actually, I'd probably send them a letter with my business card and say, you don't have to say you're new. Just say, I'm an agent in Lane County. I understand sometimes you might need a realtor to go out and do a CMA on one of your, it's not a transaction that they do, but for one of their clients. I would be more than happy to do that free of charge. Right? You're offering a service to a divorce attorney that comes up all the time. All the time. Start growing your database that way. Start a preferred provider list. One of the things that, like mine's a little bit old now. So one of the things, and here's an excuse for me to call my database, is, I'll just start this way. You know, call up Tana. Hi, Tana. This is Charity. I'm updating my preferred provider list, and I wanted to see if you have had any contractors work on your home that you felt did amazing for you. You know, or is there someone that you're looking for that I can help you find? This is an excuse to call your database. People love to tell you about people that did great things for them, right? Absolutely. I just referred out my past client from 12 years ago. He's a painter, and I referred it out to another past client, and both of them are extremely happy. You know, the past client gave me a picture of his painted house and how wonderful the person did. So I always have a painter. Find anybody, you know, plumbers, electricians, real estate attorneys, surveyors, foundation work, foundation repairs, septic well. Start thinking of people that you could, you know, that would work on your own house. I don't refer out anybody that I have not personally used or that has not come highly recommended by somebody that I highly trust. And my database knows that. I am not Googling somebody for them because that's what they can do. I have used the same inspector for almost 28 years. I have never used another person. This person has done inspections on my own personal transactions, 11 of them now. And I'm not referring out anybody else because I haven't used anybody else. And sometimes I'll get, a new buyer, maybe somebody coming from out of the area and says, hey, can you give me the names of a couple inspectors? And I always say, I can give you the name of one inspector. And here's the reason why. But I can Google a second one for you if you want. They can do that too. Again, when you are referring people out, be very careful that they do a good job. I have family members that do businesses and I don't think they do a great job. Am I going to refer them out? I am not. Just because they're family doesn't mean they're going to get a referral. I run a business. It's as simple as that. I run a business. And my clients respect me and, they rely on me to give them good contractors. So you can start a wonderful preferred provider list. You can make a page on your website, direct people there. You could make a Facebook post or a Facebook ad or even a post. Those are free. And say, hey, I just uploaded an updated preferred provider list. These are people that I trust and, blah, blah, blah. If you need a referral for one of them, let me know. Post it everywhere you can. I post it on social media. And then I'd say, make sure and tell them I told you to call. Because as they're calling, when I refer out my electrician, I always say, and tell him that I told you to call. My electrician is a past client. But, I want him to know that I'm referring business to him. He's going to be more apt to refer business to me too, right? Now, also, here's a way to talk to people about referrals, especially if they own their own business. So I started this with my hairdresser. I learned this in a class. And I went to my hairdresser and I said, hey, Franny, I'm starting I do a lot of relocation. So you guys, my preferred provider list is not just for home stuff. I do relocation. I've got my hairdresser on there. Nails. I can't tell you how many past clients use my hairdresser. Okay. Get their nails done at the same place. And the more people that are talking about you in these circles, the more they're going to remember you. Okay. And want to do business with you. So I said, hey, Franny, I'm going to start a preferred provider list. I'm going to put it in my buyer and seller packages. Would you mind if I included you just because I think you do such a wonderful job? Absolutely not. Of course, And she said, do I have to pay for it? I said, absolutely not. No. I said, I just appreciate what a great job you did for me. And I said, I hope it gets you some business. Then a couple months later, I decided, well, gosh, I should probably put it on my website. So I said, hey, Franny, I have decided to put links on my website. If you have one, I would be more than happy to put your link and, they can call you directly or whatever. And she's like, is that going to cost me anything? I said, no, it's absolutely free. I said, again, I just appreciate you and what you do for me that I want to give you business. And I really want to give her business because she does a good job for me. Do you see how this referral thing can really spiral with almost anybody you know? Anybody you know. Okay. So, any questions on that portion of it, doing a preferred provider list? Okay. Let's talk about testimonials. Anytime you sell something, get a testimonial. They can do it via Google. Sometimes you can ask them to do it on Zillow. They can even do it on realtor.com. Figure out what your platform's going to be. A lot of times I'll email it out, like, here are my questions, and then can I use this in my marketing and advertising? Nobody ever says no. If they're willing to write a review, they're certainly not going to tell me I can't use it, right? So put these testimonials everywhere in your buyer package, in your listing package, anywhere. When you get one, put it on Facebook. Hey, guess what? I got this fabulous referral, really appreciated this client and working with them. Just always use these testimonials to leverage yourself on social media, your website, things like that. And there are some agents out there that are doing a really great job these days on getting out there what they do. And I see their success just starting to spiral. You know, it was a little slow at first, and they're just doing it every day. You guys, we have to work on this every single day. Do you know, on my to-do sheet, it said, I mean, for every week, it says I want, you know, actually it's one a day. Add somebody to my database once a day. That's on my to-do list. And if I'm not going out and meeting somebody new, I'm searching through my social media platforms, you know, who is liking all my stuff? Who am I liking their stuff? You know, then I'm going to reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to include you in these freebies. All right. So let's see here. Okay, here's the other thing, because now I'm going to talk about referrals, but let's say you obviously haven't sold a house yet. You can actually ask somebody else from a previous place of business. Like maybe they're, oh my gosh, her communication skills were excellent. Buyers and sellers love communication skills, right? You know, you can have them write a referral for you. It may not necessarily have to do with real estate, but just who you are as a person, somebody who knows you and can vouch for you. You never know who's going to know that person. That's the other thing. Sometimes I'll go to a listing appointment and I'll have my testimony or something like, oh, I didn't know you knew that person. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, just it spirals, you guys, spirals. Okay, now we're going to talk about the third part of a database. Number one, build it. Number two, feed it every day. And number three, communicate with it in a systematic way. Not willy-nilly, you guys, systematic. So Gary Keller wrote, I'm going to just read this to you. It says, to succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with your database with the intent of building close relationships. So how long must you commit to building these relationships? Forever. Forever and ever and ever. And then when you sell your database, somebody else is going to take it over from there. So you also want to communicate with value and don't spam. I'm going to tell you in the KW version, you know, they say send out things that are relevant to buyers that you're working with or sellers or whatever, your church groups. I have found that costs me way too much money and too much time. I send out the same exact thing to everybody. I don't care if they're an A, B, or C prospect. I don't care if they're a past client or sphere. I don't care if they were a buyer or a seller or a referral. Everybody gets the same thing every single month. Because for me, it's the most systematic way to get done what I want done. So there's on your guys's, well, I don't know what page it is now for you, but on one of the pages in this book, it was 6.9, but I'll show you so when you come across it. This is your 36 touch. I mean, it can be. So here's how they say this needs to happen. Now, if you're getting that 10-to-1 ratio, you need 36 touches to convert a contact. Okay. So here's how KW has it broken out. 4 touches have to be telephone calls quarterly. You know, to me, am I just calling my database for nothing? I don't do that anymore. One, I don't want people calling me for nothing. Okay, I don't like to be on the phone. So I'm not doing that. I have to have a reason to call. Hey, I'm doing this new preferred provider list. Have you had any work done on your house that you just thought was exceptional service that I can add to this? When there was a big storm, I called my database. It was an excuse. Hey, how'd you do with the storm? Did you have any damage? Do you need any, you know, workers? Is there anything that, you know, I can get for you, help you with? Okay, 2 calls right there. There's a list of things, you know, reasons you can call someone. Maybe you just, you know, sometimes when I'm driving around, like let's say I'm showing property in Southwest Eugene, I kind of go through my database and I'm like, okay, who are the 5 people today that are in this area of town? I think about him. And I might send them a text. Hey, I was showing property in your area of town and I just thought of you. I hope you're doing okay. That's it. Okay. The thing with, so that's calls. 26 touches need to be a bi-weekly email offering some type of information of value to the consumer. Okay. Okay. An email, you guys, is free, right? Email is free. Calling is free. 2 touches, events, get-togethers, or parties. You might have a client party. Maybe you just meet at a winery and provide, a drink voucher and a charcuterie board or something. You know what I mean? There are very inexpensive ways. I'm not renting a place for client parties. Well, sometimes I will. But, for the most part, you try to do this cost effective. Maybe you have a small sphere. Maybe you just invite them over to your house for a summer barbecue, you guys. Who knows? And 4 touches need to be promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, calendar, marketing report, etc. Okay. You guys, people in your database mean nothing if you're not communicating with them. You don't have a business with people that are just sitting in your database, not getting info from you. I do my 36 touch every year. Actually, mine's more than that. Mine is more than that. But I want to tell you how important this is and what I do to where I don't spend money on anything else. This is all I spend money on. Okay. January. I do an annual a mail newsletter. Has nothing to do with real estate, you guys. Absolutely nothing to do with real estate. It talks about me. I started doing this in 2018 because I realized that there were so many people that weren't on social media, and I didn't want people to start seeing, like, I was bald for a while. My hair grew back without any pigmentation. So I had white spiky hair for a while. So my looks were changing. And so I really wanted people to be aware of that. Also, I'm single. I need to work, right? Even through chemo and radiation and all that kind of stuff, I still had to work. So I wanted them to know, guess what? I'm still working and I'm still here for you. Okay. So the yearly newsletter is just, what's going on with me? What's going on with my dogs? I started this business when my daughter was 3 or 4. She's 32 now. I mean, so I give an update on her. Remember, people do business with people that they like and trust. Okay? Simple as that. If they like and they trust you, they're going to do business with you. And Emily, yes, I'm going to show you right now what I'm sending out. Okay. January, they get the mail your newsletter. They also get actually, that's in December. So sorry, little. Also, every month, whoever closed in that month gets their anniversary card. Handwritten note with a $10 Starbucks or blah, 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 and whatever. I also, on my to-do list every day, I had 2 hours of social media and networking. I'm not a big fan of going out of the house anymore. I can do a lot of social media networking on social media, you guys. You really, really can. And they don't see that I don't have makeup on or haven't, I still have my pajamas on. So social media, just so you know, is on every single month. It's on every single day, Monday through Friday, 2 hours. I'm just shocked about how social media has really, people are like, oh, I'm never going to do social media. I don't want people knowing what I do. And that's okay. Find a different way. I'm just telling you what I do. Okay. I'm just telling you what I do. You can do it any way you want. February, what went out in February? So I send out an email newsletter, my referral postcard. Whoever closed in the month of February got their anniversary card. And Here's my goodie that I keep talking to you guys about. Let's find it. Oh heavens. Okay, so there is, I use marketing and design solutions. Let me just very quickly give you her info. You guys, you could, so here's, let me just, so I don't forget. Marketing and design solutions. Her name is Trenda, and this is her phone number. What Trenda does is she comes together. So Trenda does, she'll do flyers for you. I find her to be pretty expensive, except I do these because she already has the program worked out. So every single month I get to choose, and they're smaller postcards. I get to choose between two goodies. I call them goodies. She calls them cap cards, client appreciation. I don't know, something like that. So let's see here. Here's 6 free mini donuts. Here's a free car wash. Here's a free 6-inch sub. Okay, so she has already worked with these companies. All I have to do, I give her my backer, which is the same. And by the way, it's the same exact backer that's on the referral postcard. You should never send out a piece of mail or an email without a call to action. My call to action on the back of this card is want to know your home's approximate current market value, go to, and then my website. Okay. Then it has my info. You guys, I just changed this because so many people comment about my dogs. The new postcard I got it here, that I sent out this month, free 8-ounce frozen yogurt. Okay. I added my dogs, Theo and Chi Chi, because people are always asking about them because I post them on Facebook. I get business from posting my dogs on Facebook, you guys. Okay, let's talk about these. I get them like this, and then she sends them bulk mail. I stick my own labels on. She'll stick your labels on. I try to do it the most cost-effective way. Why do I use her for this? Because I don't want to spend every year in December or October starting to try to find all these companies that will do this. I'm not reinventing the wheel. She already has it done. So what happens is I mail these out to about 440 people in my database. Maybe 50 people redeem them. Sometimes, some months it's 10, sometimes it's 20. She has negotiated a lower cost for these things. And here's the thing, I'm doing this. I pray nobody redeems them, quite frankly, because then it costs me money, right? So, but it is well worth it to me. It's an excuse for me to ask people for their address to add them into my database, because nobody says no to wanting a goodie. Okay, it's a free goodie. Now, why do these businesses do this with her? Because they hope when you go in for well, car wash isn't the best one, but let's say a 6-inch sub, you're bringing the whole family, right? And so they're going to make more money on it. So we do get reduced costs. If you're wondering how much, gosh, I allocate $1,000 a month for mailings. I know that might seem a lot right now, you guys. You're not going to be mailing to as many people as I am, right? Maybe you're only mailing to 10 people your first month, and then 20 people your first month. And that's the thing, you guys. I mean, I started a database with very few people, just like you did. And then it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. I also have tried to do this because she has a bulk mail thing. I have her send out my referral postcard because she can send it out bulk mail. And it saves me some cost on postage. So, honestly, I think for as many as I send out, it's like 170 for the cards, maybe 250 for the postage, and then whatever somebody redeems. I mean, some months, you know, maybe I'm paying 250 for the redeem, and then other months maybe I'm paying $50, right? It kind of evens out to where my budget is this. That also includes that referral postcard. So I'm sending out 2 mailers. The first, they get this. 2 weeks later, on the 15th, they're getting the referral postcard. So they're getting something from me every 2 weeks in the mail of the year. In addition, they're also getting an email newsletter, right? So, and then the email newsletter. So you guys, I just continue to do that over and over and over again. I like to do an event in June. Haven't planned that yet. In August, I send out the football schedule. Trenda does these for me too. And you guys look, my photo's on here. I can't tell you how many houses I go to, and this is on there during football season. In December, I sent out a calendar magnet again. You guys, I'm not changing. Do you see how I'm not changing things? My photo probably does need to be updated. That's 3 years old, and I chopped my hair since then. But I'm not trying to reinvent something new every single month. You guys, all these backers on all these cards that go out, they're the exact same. I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is replying to an email saying, this is how many I need. This is a systematic way of contacting your database. This card is all over the place. This magnet. Oh, I gotta tell you something funny about this magnet. So my uncle through 23andMe found out he had a child, a different one. And who knew? So I met her for the first time, and she's quite a bit younger than me. And we were all meeting her at my uncle's house, and she walks in. And so I went up to her and I said, hey, I'm your cousin Charity. And she said, I actually know who you are because your calendar magnet is at my friend's parents' house. She lives in Portland, by the way. She comes down to her friend's house in Eugene and saw my magnet. And she's like, I know exactly who you are. You guys, I mean, and this happens all the time, where I'll get a call and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I was at so-and-so's house and they had your magnet on the fridge. I had no idea you guys knew each other. Great conversation starters, you guys. Great conversation starters. And so that is my 36 touch. It is very basic and it's very, very easy. Does anyone have any questions on a 36 touch? Anything? So let's talk about here's another thing, you guys, I started doing is a picture Christmas card. Me and my dogs. People loved it. People just loved it. I got comments on it. My vet told me she didn't want to take it down after Christmas because she loved my dog so much, you know, and I just sold her a house. So here's the thing about your 36 touch. Do not overthink this, you guys. Consistency is the key. Okay. Just like that referral postcard that I send out on the 15th, I know it's going straight from the mailbox to their recycle bin, but they're like, oh, here's Charity again, reminding me about wanting referrals. It's a very subtle way. Let's see here. What are some other things that you can send out? You could send out stats. Command has things, you know, I like I said, I'm not tech savvy, but I ordered Canva and I'm going to learn how to maybe do some things and send them out. We'll see, you know, but right now I have it very systematically done. And I'd say about every 5 years, I might change up the look of something, but the message is always the same. It's always the same. Oh, another thing that I send out is when you sell something, this could be for a listing or a buyer. I have what's called a Happy New Year letter. And so when I'm closing out my file, I take this letter and I print out their final closing statement. I put it in an envelope, and on like the middle of December, it gets mailed out. So anybody that closed a house with me that year is getting their closing statement. And the letter says something like, Happy New Year. I understand with all the move and the shuffle, sometimes this important document that you're going to want for taxes, because guess what? They have a bunch of stuff they get to write off of on their taxes, right? Because they bought a house or sold a house maybe. So I just hope that, you know, and then I also say, if you need anything else from your file, I keep them for 6 years. And I've had people come to me 3 years, 4 years, hey, you know, I can't seem to find this. Can you? And I'm like, absolutely, I'll have it to you today because I have it in a file. And I keep it. Let's see here. I just want to see if I'm missing anything. Market stats. We talked about my anniversary plan. You know, seasonal checklists for homeowners. Like, you know, in spring, okay, it's time. Maybe you should do a moss removal on the roof. Clean out your gutters. Make sure your sprinklers are working before the hot weather comes. You know, things like that. Schedule of local events. That's probably not something I would mail out. That would be something maybe I would put on my website or I would put on social media. We have an agent in our office who, and there are several agents around Lake County that are doing really well with like local events. They have kids and like, oh yeah, here's great things for kids. Find your niche. Okay, find your niche and go with it. And you can have multiple niches, multiple. So because you have to remember, you are a business. While you might work for Keller Williams, you own your own business. You independently are your business. And how hard you work for it is how successful you're going to be. You know, here's another thing I think I mentioned it, if you want if you're doing a newsletter, which is free, by the way, and Command has newsletter templates. Command has all their smart plans that you can do different types of touches. Go in there and look around. I gave you what I do. Go around in Command, see other things are, and then, you know, you might sit back and be like, huh, what would I want to get each month? Try it out. It's all about trial and error. And nothing set in stone. You can always change it. Just be consistent. Again, there should be some form of communication every 2 weeks where someone knows you. I don't even care if it's like you commented on their social media. You're behind, but there should be every 2 weeks some sort of communication. Okay, now let's talk about the last section here, which is number 4. Number 1 was build your database. Number 2, feed your database daily. Number 3, communicate with it in a systematic way. And 4 is to follow up on all the leads that come your way. So Gary Keller says, your job is to build a community and serve the community. It's why people in my database know they can come to me for lots of different things, not just for buying and selling a house, many, many things. The size of that community is determined by you and only you. It's a great reminder that real estate is a relationship business. You guys, people do business with people they like and trust. And I said this, but I'll say it again. A lead not followed up with becomes somebody else's piece of business and income. So Gary Keller puts it this way. Here's what he thinks. He says, my job is to connect with you, put you in my database, and be your realtor for life. That's the goal. That's when you're just kind of sitting back and then coasting and all your business comes to you. But again, it's not like I don't have to do anything, right? I mean, there's still 2 hours of prospecting on social media, you know, adding to my database every day, trying to find somebody I can add to my database. You guys go out to chamber events, go to ribbon cuttings, don't be afraid to tell people what you do. Now, sometimes I think we feel we're not confident in telling people what we want or, you know, what we do. So here's what I would do is, you know, we get the market action for Lane County every single month. That's through MLS. You should get it emailed, the link emailed to you. Find 3 different stats each month that you like. And because I guarantee you, when somebody finds out you're a real estate agent, they're going to ask you one question. How's the real estate market? Happens every time. Saying good, which is what every other agent does, you're supposed to say, oh, it's great, it's fabulous, it's a wonderful time to sell and buy. I picked 3 stats from that market action. I want to know what's the months of inventory. What's the average sales price? And what's the appreciation year to date or for that month? So when somebody says, hey, Charity, how's the real estate market? You guys, I'm just throwing this out. Be like, gosh, Tana, you know, it's crazy. It's, you know, technically we're still a seller's market because we have 2.9 months of inventory. Yet our pendings are down, our solds are down. So what that tells me is that there's not as many buyers out there. So if you're looking to buy, less competition, you know, but and here's an easy thing to explain. If somebody says, I'm waiting for the interest rates to go down, oh, for heaven's sakes, we saw it during COVID, which is when our inventory just drastically dropped. You guys, we had sometimes 1 week and 2 weeks of inventory. What that means is that the rate buyers were purchasing homes, we deplete, if nothing else came on the market, we deplete our inventory in that time. And that's how you explain it. So I explained to, especially this days on the market, or, you know, how many months? Let's say we have 2.9 months. Well, Tana, for an even buyer and seller market, we really need 5 to 6 months of inventory. You know, that means at the rate buyers are purchasing, we deplete our inventory if nothing came on within 5 to 6 months. However, we're tilted on the seller side right now because of the low inventory. And why do we have low inventories? Because when the interest rates dropped, a lot of people refied. So they're not probably looking to do anything for a while, right? They refied, they cashed out, they did a lot of things. Whereas they're probably not going to sell. So here, if you have somebody that says, I'm going to wait for the interest rates to drop. Well, look what happened in 2020, 2021. Interest rates dropped. And that $400,000 house, while it was fabulous, you know, with the interest rates of 3%, that $400,000 house was getting bid up to $450,000 and $475,000. There were more buyers who could afford homes due to the low interest rate, and our inventory continued to drop. It's all about supply and demand, you guys. And so therefore, I don't want to bid up a home, right? I would rather pay the 7% interest rate at $400,000 and then refi later on. It's never going to get down to 3% again, you guys. Not in our lifetime. Not unless something drastic happens with the world. So educating people. Coming up with 3 simple stats every single month from that market action. When somebody says, hey, Lane, how's the real estate market? You know what? You're going to just rattle off these 3 stats. So you are different than the other agents they have asked for that said, oh, it's great. It's a great time to buy and sell. But why? Why is it a great time to buy and sell? That's what most agents don't say. So this is where you become the knowledgeable person. Give them stats. Stats don't lie, right? And it makes you sound, even if we don't know what we're doing, it makes us sound like we do know what we're doing, okay? Let's see here. What else am I going to tell you? Also, you guys, knowing the source of where your leads came from is extremely important. Like I said, after so many years, you forget who referred who. If that's not in my database, like, I would have no idea that this person has referred 8 people to me over the last 15 years, right? So I might want to reward them and be like, you know, I haven't heard from them in a year. Let's see what's going on. So, you know, hey, I just want you to know you've been the number 1 person to refer for referrals to me as a single, you know. So Communicate with your database, you guys. Communicate with your database basically like your friends, right? People that trust you, they like you, that sort of thing. And we talked about referrals and rewarding the name, not the sale. I think that's very important. And you guys, least of all, please, please, please do not get discouraged. It can sometimes take 2 to 3 years to see a significant return. Okay. It really can. But if you start now, 2 to 3 years from now, you guys are going to be golden. Okay. You guys are going to, once you get in the rhythm of this 36 touch and feeding your database, and like I said, it's a game to me. How do I get to 600 people in my database by the end of the year? Right. It's fun. How do I get those C prospects to a B prospect to an A prospect? You know, I read somewhere that, oh, you should only have a VIP list of 50 people. Well, I'm sorry, I've got over 100, you know, which are A prospects because they've done multiple transactions with me or referred people to me. There's no limit on who my VIPs are, you guys. There's no limit to that. I want as many as possible. Never wait to buy a home, always buy a home and wait. Yep. Melissa said, never wait to buy a home, always buy a home and wait. Absolutely. You know what? When the interest rates go down, and I tell these people all the time, you do not want interest rates to go down to 3% again. We have no houses to buy. And frankly, what was sad is when I had a $400,000 buyer, we could only look up to 350, right? Because it would get bid up that much. So, do you want a $400,000 house or do you want a $350,000 house? Paying the exact same, you guys, the exact same. Supply and demand. Let's remember supply and demand. You know, it can also take over a year of contacting people using the 33 touch. It's not always immediate. I will say that your first transaction is probably going to be somebody from your database, your sphere of influence. It really is. 99% of the time, that's what it is for us. I want you to think in mindset of long term. People are staying in their homes longer, right? So we want to market to them for referrals, not just for repeat business. But we also want them to give out our name. And in turn, that just grows our database even bigger. And then always come from gratitude and service. I can't say this enough. People do business with people they know, like, and trust, not who are pushy, not who don't, always have your client's best interest at heart. Always. Always. Now, and Gary says, with no database, you have no business. And that is true. You guys, if I didn't have this database, I literally would not have the business I have. The number of names in your databases and the relationships you build with the people in it will determine the success of your business. The size of your database will determine the success of your real estate business. It is very simple. Okay, you guys, I'm done with my spiel. So does anyone have anything specific or something they're struggling about, or, hey, I might want to try this. What do you think? Anything like that? Questions? I also put in my phone number and my email address. You know, one of the great things about KW is we don't, compete with each other, right? I'm an open book. I just shared with you my entire 36 touch plan, and I showed you what I send out, and I'm more than happy to share anything else. And anybody else at KW is as well. So never ever feel like you are on your own. If you get frustrated, you call someone. We have lots of staff. We have veteran agents like myself who are always willing to help out. Always. So we are done for today. And I hope you guys all have, oh, I don't see your info listed. Oh, maybe did I not send it to everyone? And I thought I did. It was at the very, Did you guys get the marketing and design solutions one? Okay. So mine's the very top, but I'm going to give it to you. So here's my email address. And my phone number. Oh. Some reason it wants me to send it directly to Emily instead of everyone in the meeting. So let's try this. Okay. Did it come up for y'all? Okay. Again, I'm here. If you have any questions about databases, I am very passionate about it. I feel very strongly about it. And good luck with everything, you guys. Okay, has everybody written that down? Okay. All right. Well, happy Monday, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day. And go add people to your database. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later. Bye.